स्लिप हो जाए, गलत चले जाए। अच्छा होने, पैसा होने से वेदांत गए, यू मे बी ए बिग rich person. That doesn't mean, that you have got a proportionate knowledge also. That's because you have got a lot of money doesn't mean you have got proportionate knowledge. That is simple jiva. You do prarabdha, some money. वो बात अलग है, but गलत, मतलब ज्ञान is not proportionate to. You have to make it like Janaka, be like a Janaka, a great king. You see, he was a king, and in the morning he would get up and study Veda. शास्त्र को पढ़ते थे, पढ़ाते भी थे. Janaka was a great example. You can't be richer than Janaka anyway. All that you have got, in those days land had no meaning. उस समय थोड़ा लैंड इकट्ठा किया, वो what was 1 lakh worth is today it is 1 trillion worth. That is a huge. So suddenly you get a lot of money. That doesn't mean anything. Become humble, sit down, study. राम जी का नाम लो, सबसे पहले राम जी का नाम लो, राम जी के सामने बैठ के रो, हे भगवान मुझे लाइट दो, खराई खराई खराई, कहीं न कहीं प्रकाश मिलेगा, नहीं तो भटकते रहेंगे, कुछ नहीं हो. हाँ जी, फिर बाद में मैंने फिर वो माता जी का एक बंधु थे, एक लड़की थी, वो बहुत इंटेलिजेंट ब्राइट थी. वो लड़की ने बोला, स्वामी जी मैं कल से आपकी क्लासेस आ रहा हूं, बस. शी समथिंग रियली एंटर्ड हर हेड. दैट इज वन यूटिलिटी. अरे तो मैं तो आ रहा, मैं जा रहा हूं. तो माता जी बोला आप भी आना हो तो आओ, नहीं तो मैं जा रहा हूं. से बैठ, जपा तपा करो, जप करो, तप करो, अध्ययन करो, सुनो. ओके, नमः शिवाय. ओम सहना भवतु, सहनौ भुनक्तु, सह वीर्यं करवावहै, तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै. ओम शांति शांति शांति. श्रुति स्मृति पुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शंकरं लोकशंकरं. शंकरं शंकराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः. नमः शिवाय गुरवे सच्चिदानंदमूर्तये. आदि वेरासी यस्यामतं तस्य मतं मतं यस्य न वेदसः अभिज्ञातं विजानतां विज्ञातमविजानतां न दृष्टेर्द्रष्टारं पश्येः न विज्ञातेर्विज्ञातारं विजानीयाः इति चैवमादि. Up to that we have seen. Therefore, Shastram does not present the truth in the form of another object. It presents the truth. It makes one see the truth. it makes one understand the truth without any possibility of missing it. It is impossible not to see what it presents. And that truth which it presents not like an object. Why should everything be in the form of an object? Is it not enough that the objects are like objects? Why should we want the truth also to be like an object? Why so much of moha for the objects? Why should it be truth also should be like an object? Truth also I want it to be like an object so that I can get attached to it. You may have your own ideas, but then it doesn't happen to be the truth. It doesn't happen to be the object. And that is why the one who thinks it is an object, he doesn't know. And the one who thinks means the one who understands that it is not an object, he understands. This we have seen. Ataham avidya kalpitam samsaritvam nivartanenam nityamuktam atmaswarupam samarpanat na mokshasya anityatva doshaha. So, there is no problem of moksha being non-eternal. Mokshasya anityatva dosha. It is a different kind of meaning. Dosha means, I get something and I lose it. That is called a dosha. It is not a flaw in thinking kind of dosha. This is another dosha. Dosha means what? I get something and I lose it. That is a dosha. So, there is no problem of gaining moksha and then again losing it. There is no problem of moksha being non-eternal. Mokshasya anityatva doshaha na. There is no problem of moksha being non-eternal. Why? Because Shastra does not create moksha. Shastra does not create moksha. It only falsifies the sense of bondage. Moksha and bandha are not like raga and dvesha. This I made it very clear before. They are not dvandvas. Where there are dvandvas, I have like, then it is replaced by dislike. And again, like can come and replace it. Like can come and replace dislike. And dislike again can become more powerful and then replace like. This silsila of mutual replacement never ends. Where two opposites are involved. Like and dislike are two opposites. They are called dvandva. They keep on replacing each other. This is how we think. Moksha and bandha. We think of freedom and bondage exactly like that. How can a layman think that freedom and bondage are not really two opposites? Love and hate are two opposites. Pleasure and pain are two opposites. Good and bad are two opposites. Similarly, freedom and bondage are two opposites. But freedom and bondage are not two opposites. Freedom is the nature and bondage is an error. Freedom is the swarupam. To be free is the nature of the self, which is mistaken as bound. So that bondage is corrected by the Shastra. It doesn't have to create freedom. It doesn't have to create freedom. And that is why here moksha is not, there is no problem of moksha being non-eternal. That is why it says, ataha, therefore, avidya kalpita. Avidya, born of avidya. Sansaritva, bondage. Sansaraha is bondage. Sansari means the one who is bound. Sansari. And any pratyaya, sansari. Sansaritva. Sansaritva means the status of being a bound individual is called sansaritva. Nivartanena, by way of removing. By way of removing my notional status of being bound. Sansaritva nivartane. How is it that my status of being bound is removable? My status of being bound is removable because it is avidya kalpita. Hetu also is given there. Avidya kalpita sansaritva nivartanena. Nivartana means removal. Nivartanena, by way of removing this, my status of bondage, by way of removing my status of being bound. Which status of bondage is only notional? Avidya kalpitam. Avidya kalpita sansaritva nivartanena. What does the Shastra do? Nitya mukta atma swarupa samarpanat. What language? It presents the truth. Nitya mukta means the ever free. That which is by nature free. Atma Swarupa, the nature of the Atma. Samarpanat means presenting. Samarpana means the presenting, offering, samarpana, unfolding. Samarpanat, because the Shastra presents, unfolds our nature, not as another object, but it unfolds our nature by way of correcting our notion that we are bound, meaning by way of helping us discern between the subject and the object, because the entire bondage is in the realm of the object, a notion. Body is anatma. Even the thought that I am the body comes under the anatma, and therefore, and this entire anatma has laya in sushupti, etc. It is helping me discern between the unobjectifiable being the subject and the rest. And in that very discerning, the anatma gets, the bondage gets corrected. The sense of being the form gets corrected. So, nivartanena atma swarupa samarpanat. Therefore, na mokshasya anityatva dosha. Therefore, moksha has no problem of being non-eternal. Why moksha is not non-eternal? Because moksha is not created by the Shruti. Moksha only conveys the free nature of the self. Nitya mukta atma swarupa samarpana. Shastram only unfolds the free nature of the self, which free nature is already there. by way of correcting the error about it, that is the sense of bondage. Now therefore tell me, between bondage and freedom are they two dvandvas? Are you able to follow? Two dvandva. Dvandva means you must listen. Dvanda means two opposites. Two opposites means one replaces the other. Like heat comes and replaces cold. Raga replaces Vesha. That is the best example. Because Bhashikara, this is a realm of dvandvas. Meaning mind is a realm of dvandva. Kindness and cruelty, two emotions, opposite emotions. Conjuice fun and generosity. What are they? Two opposites. To be miserly and to be generous. These are two opposites. And therefore Jiva keeps on swinging from one opposite. And his entire concept of liberation is moving from the wrong opposites to the right opposites. Bas itna hi hai. This is called, development. What is the development? When man evolves and evolves and evolves. This is another big problem. When man evolves and evolves and evolves, and he becomes a perfect person, then he gets liberated. Who told you this? कौन सी शास्त्र में पढ़ा है? कोई शास्त्र नहीं, अपने आप. ये सब अपना शास्त्र है. स्वाध्याय. This is called स्वाध्याय. स्वाध्याय means what? अपने आप सोचना. This is what is called ataha vidyakalpita samsaya. Say, your growth can never be beyond opposites. Human growth can never be beyond the opposites. For some time you evolve, and if there is nothing more to evolve, then you devolve. Because without motion, I feel bored. Therefore, I put on perfection. I become a very loving person, kind person, generous person, vagaira, vagaira. This is called an individual growth. But then afterwards, what do? Then that is called growth of a jiva. It means he is a very nice, evolved individual. Then he has to go to Shabda Pramanam. Supposing he doesn't go to Shabda Pramanam, then what does he do? He will lose it. He will again devolve. Evolve, devolve, evolve, devolve. Therefore, having really reached a relatively peaceful mind, then listen to what the scripture says. Then the scripture says, my dear, the truth of yourself is free from both the opposites. It is free from time, space, form, thought, emotions, etc. It is the truth of the whole universe. Therefore, that freedom is the nature of the self. Therefore, the felt bondage is an error. There is a truth and error relation between freedom and bondage. Like and dislike, there is no truth and error. Like is an emotion. Dislike is an emotion. Both replace each other. In fact, bondage doesn't replace freedom. Bondage is a notion about the free. Freedom is not a thing. The free self. The free. Remaining the free is looked upon as bound. Therefore, if there is a relation between freedom and bondage, what should be that relation? It can only be truth and adhyasa. Therefore, Shastram does not create moksha. See, this must be understood. Generally keep repeating, Shastra doesn't create moksha. How is it doesn't create moksha? This is how. It can't, nobody can. Freedom cannot be created. Because between freedom and bondage, there is no opposites. They are not two opposites. Bondage is a notion of freedom. Therefore, in registering the free nature of the bondage, registering the free nature of the self, the sense of bondage is corrected. Alone is the approach. Or is it true to say that freedom is there, but then there is some cover on it, we have to remove it? Ezavini. Look at this statement, there is freedom. Interesting. There is freedom, but on it is the cover. I must remove it. I say, you seem to already know that there is freedom on which there is cover. Can you have an experience like this? There is freedom on which there is cover, and now I must remove it. Is there an experience like this? If there is an experience that I am free, then there is no cover. Freedom is experience. Not that the experience of freedom is under the cover. There is no cover. The experience of freedom is not looked at somehow or other. That is. One doesn't look at one's experience. The experiences are not looked at. That is why education is about our experiences. This felt bondage is not there in deep sleep. Now is it not freedom? Is freedom? Freedom is not like this. I was bound, now I am free. That means I should have the memory of the prior bondage. And now I should remember it. I say in Sushupti, not only there is no bondage, there is not even memory of it. Is it not total freedom? Not only there is no bondage, but there is not even memory of it. Is it not total freedom? Why should we think that I should have the memory of my prior bondage? I say if you have the memory of the prior bondage, it is still bondage. Why? Because how many people suffer through the memories of the previous sufferings, even though they don't have suffering now. How many people? Therefore, freedom is everybody's experience, not looked at. Okay. Adaha, therefore, avidya kalpita sansaritva nivartanena nityamukta atmaswarupa samarpanat na mokshasya nityatva doshaha. Next, yasyatu utpadyaham mokshaham tasya anasam vachikam kayikam vam karyam apekshate iti yuktam. Now the Bhashikara says, my dear sir, yasya, underline, write down, yasya vadinaha. Yasya vadinaha. If there is a person who thinks that moksha is something to be created, utpadyaha, yasya tu, that tu means whereas, as different from the Siddhantam which says that Shastram only falsifies your sense of bondage, it doesn't create freedom. Moksha is nature. In contrast to this Siddhantam, if somebody were to think that moksha has to be created, yasya tu utpadyaha mokshaha, for whom moksha is something that needs to be created. For whom means what? The one who thinks that moksha has to be created, then definitely as per his thinking he would be in need of creating, in need of doing mental action, physical action, oral action to create it. Because creation is always the result of some action. Therefore, yasya tu utpadyaha moksha, for whom moksha is utpadyaha, tasya vadinaha, for him. Manasam, mental action, meaning mental meditations, like mental imaginations, mental, understand, upasana, mental imagination, and mental imagination born worships, etc. Vachikam, oral action, kayikam va, or physical action, karyam, something to be done, apekshate, is required. उसके लिए अपेक्षा है. Iti yuktam, it is logical. It is okay to say that you need to do some action if you have to create moksha. But you don't have to do any action. Why? Because moksha need not be created. Moksha is your nature, and the moksha means you are the free nature. Moksha, please underline, moksha is not a state. The free, the free nature of one's being is called moksha. The free nature, like a state of consciousness, I have to reach. What about now? To be conscious is something that I have to bring about. To be conscious is a state, right? Now is my nature, because I can't have existence except as a conscious being. It's not possible to be and not to be conscious. And therefore nor is it possible not to be also. Neither it is possible not to be, nor is it possible not to be conscious. So just as I don't have to bring about my conscious status, I don't have to bring about my free nature. To be conscious is our nature, and to be conscious as unlimited is our nature. Because you cannot be limited consciousness, because consciousness by nature is unlimited as the experiencer of, as conscious of the world, as the experiencer of the waking dream and their negation. One is absolute. And therefore that very unlimited nature of consciousness is free nature. The unqualified nature of consciousness is free nature. And therefore you don't have to bring about freedom. If you think you have to bring about moksha, then you have to go about doing something. But you don't have to. But whoever thinks it needs to be created, then he will go on doing something or the other throughout life. Ye karna, wo karna. And then next life, bahut janma lenge. Bhagavan also says, Bahunam janmanam ande jnanavan mam prapadyate. तो उनके लिए भी काम आता है ये. हाँ जी, जिनके लिए those who want to get occupied with some kind of kriya, karma, etc. उनके लिए भी काम आता है. भगवान भी यही बात कहते हैं. उसका तात्पर्य और कुछ है. All that he means is, he is glorifying the love for truth. बहुत जन्मों के बाद you will have interest to know the truth, means he is glorifying the love for knowledge. This is called Arthavada. He is glorifying the love for understanding, because really it happens only after many lives. Supposing we say, 84 योनियों में जन्म लेने के बाद नरजन्म होता है. Now, what is the purpose of this vakya? What is the purpose of this vakya? To glorify the value of narajanma, और कुछ नहीं. You don't have to really become very statistical minded. Is it 84 or 85 and all? It is all meaningless. There is a way of Arthavada. The Shastra has a style of doing praise. Praise means highlighting a value. Yes. Similarly, Bhagavan says, Bahunam Janmanamante Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate. The jnana is, the value of jnana is highlighted because it is something that one gets after many lives. The rarity, the glory of really self-education, the glory of looking at oneself leisurely is an opportunity that a jiva gets after many ages of wandering. And therefore, now those people also get it. Bhagavan says, Bahunam Janmanam Antanam Jnanavan Prabhu. That means we have to do sadhana for many lives. See the interpretation. See the interpretation. एक जन्म में नहीं होने वाला है, बहुत जन्म लगे. Then let me go on doing. Anyway, therefore here Bhashyakara says, my dear sir, if you think moksha needs to be created, then you have a lot to do. But you don't have to do anything, you have to study and recognize your truth, yourself. Iti yukta. Clear? Next line. Tatha vikaryatve cha tayoho pakshayoho mokshasya dhruvam anityatvam. Tatha, similarly, vikaryatve, utpadyatve, if moksha is something to be created, then it would depend upon action. Statement number 1. If it is something that were to be modified, it is something that has to be brought about, moksha is something that has to be brought about by bringing about some change in the self. By bringing about some change in the self. In that case, also some kriya has to be supplied. Utpadyatve, if moksha is something to be brought about, has to be created newly, then you have to do some action. Statement number 1. Now the second statement. If it is something that has to be brought about by way of changing the self, then also it has to depend upon some action. In both the cases, the created moksha would be non-eternal. That is why it says tayoho pakshayoho. In the case of both the pakshas, tayoho pakshayoho means what are the two pakshas? Utpadyatva paksha and vikaryatva paksha. Yoho, in both the pakshas, mokshasya, mokshaka. Dhruvam means definitely, anityatvam, well, would be non-eternal. Whether you bring about moksha by action or you bring it about through modification in the self, in either case being a result, if moksha is a result of modification or a result of some direct action, it would definitely be non-eternal. If it is brought about, it would be non-eternal. Dhruvam anityatvam. What a combination. Dhruvam itself means eternal. Here dhruvam means definitely. Nishchayena. Nishchitam is definitely. Dhruvam. Dhruvam anityatvam is an adverb here. Dhruvam anityatvam. Anityatvam dhruvam bhavati. Its non-eternity is definite. Why should it be definite? Because you said it is brought about. What a fundamental thinking. What a fundamental thinking, you see. You can't be more fundamental. You see, this may be a universe if it is brought about non-eternal. If it is an error, it is correctable. If it is a real creation also, it would be non-eternal. What is already there independent of my thought is eternal. What depends upon my action and thought is going to be non-eternal. Nahi dathyadi vikaryam utpadyam va ghatadi nityam drishtam loke dathyadi vikaryam, the result of modification, like curd, dati. Take simple examples. Curd, which is a result of modification, which is vikarya. Utpadyam va, like ghatadi. Pot is brought about. Curd is brought about. Both are brought about through action and modification. In either way, nahi drishtam loke nityam is not seen in this world as eternal. You see, utpadyam ghatadi. Utpadyam is neutral gender, therefore he brings in ghatadi, neutral gender. Ghatadi. Utpadyam ghatadi. Otherwise, utpadyaha ghataha ho jayega. Ghatadi, etc. Adi is what? Neuter gender. Adi, adini, adini. Ghatadi. Not ghatadihi, but ghatadi. Adi, adini. Adini, vari, varini, varini, vatu. Therefore, ghatadi, ghata, etc. What is it? Utpadyam ghatadi. Neuter and neuter. Similarly, vikaryam dadhyadi. Dadhyadi is what? Which gender? Neuter gender. Therefore, the bond, curd, etc., or the brought about thought, etc., is not seen in this world to be eternal. Pot is non-eternal. Curd is also non-eternal. Why? Because it's brought about. What about this huge banyan tree? Hey, that is also brought about, it will be non-eternal. But long time, I say non-eternity includes ages and ages and ages. I tell you, eternity doesn't have a length. Non-eternity has. Therefore, Satyuga, Dwapara Yuga, Kali Yuga, all these yugas are the length of what? Eternity or non-eternity? Non-eternity is very long. Non-eternity has a length. If it is 100 years, it is non-eternal. 1,000 years, non-eternal. Billions of years, still non-eternal. I said time itself is non-eternal because time itself is brought about. I say time is non-eternal. What to talk of? It's phases. It's the measurements of time. Time itself is non-eternal. Therefore, we think of eternity in terms of long time. I say long time is the swarup of non-eternity. Non-eternity. Non-eternity is an error about eternity. Therefore, time also is an error about the timeless. That is a different thing. Now, this much we confine to moksha cannot be utpadyam, moksha can't be vikaryam. If it were so, then it would be non-eternal. Then it won't be moksha. Nachapi nacha apyatvenapi karyapeksha swatma swarupatve sati anapyatvat. Nacha, neither apyatvena truth as something to be reached in time. Na karyapeksha. There is no need to make any effort. There is no need to make an effort to reach the truth. कार्य की अपेक्षा नहीं है. कार्य की अपेक्षा मतलब कर्तव्य का अपेक्षा नहीं है. एक्शन का, कर्म का अपेक्षा नहीं है. With the idea that Atma has to be, apyam is something to be reached. Apyam means, something to be reached. Ap means to reach. Apyam means to be reached. Apyatvena means by way of its being reached, to be reached. So, I don't have to make any effort in order to reach the truth. There is no need to do anything to reach the truth. Why? Swatma Swarupatve. If it is oneself, Swatma Swarupatve. Because it is Swatma Swarupatve Sati, that is Saptami. Because it is the very nature of oneself. On its being oneself, that is how Sati Saptami should be translated. On its being oneself. Swatma Swarupatve Sati Anapyatvat. It is never something that needs to be reached. You don't have to reach the truth. Because if I reach, I will part from it. See the problem. This is called Vairagyam. Vairagyam is not, Vairagyam has to be looked at from various angles. Vairagyam is not only, if I want a pleasure, but then, to get that pleasure, a lot of musibats are there, therefore, chodo. You understand? To get a pleasure, I have to go through the pain. To get money, I have to work hard. I is going to work hard. It involves a lot of pain. Chatter. That is not Vairagyam. I want pleasure. But to get it, I have to go through a lot of pain for which I am not prepared. Therefore, chatter. This is called Vairagya. This is called Jihasa Vairagya. This is called Jihasa Vairagya. Jihasa Vairagya means what? Just to escape just to desire to get rid of. Desire to shirk. I want to get married, but then who is going to look after that girl for life? Ekada din to theek hai, pura jeevan. Who is going to look after? Chatter. This is called Jihasa Vairagya. Chatter means Jihasa Vairagya. One meaning of chatter is Jihasa Vairagya. But it should be more profound, please. I say, even if I were to get a great pleasure, because I got it, it has to go. I see the end of, I see the final. What is the finality about it? I read something, I have to part from it. I have to create something, then it has to perish. I have to bring it about through modification, it has to perish. I have to purify. Supposing I purify something, it is going to collect impurity. Therefore, none of these, that means no effort is of any validity in gaining what I want. That means it can never be sadhya. Because I want to gain a state of happiness which is not subject to go. I want to be peaceful, which peacefulness is not subject to go. That means that kind of peacefulness cannot be apyam, utpadyam, or vikaryam, or even sanskaryam, as is going to say. Therefore, what is the statement? My dear sir, you don't have to do anything to reach the truth because it happens to be the very self. Swatma Swarupatve Sati Anapyatvatu. Therefore, the free nature doesn't have to reach. The free nature doesn't have, moksha doesn't have to be reached, moksha doesn't have to be brought about this way or that way. Sanskaro hinamam. No, next verse. Swarupa vyatiriktatvepi brahmanaha na apyatvam sarvagatattvena nitya apta swarupatvat sarvena brahmanaha akashasya. Bhashyakara is in a very good mood. He just takes into account really the most beautiful thing. Even if truth were not you, even then you can't reach it. There is no need to reach it. Even if truth were not you, even if truth were other than you, so every Dvaiti thinks of God as other than him, but then he would always say, our God is all pervasive. You understand? Hamara God kya hai? It is all pervasive. If it is all pervasive, even if it is not you, still you can't reach. Like space is not you, all right. But you don't have to reach space. Similarly, God is not something, even if really truth, Brahman is not you, even if Brahman is other than you, even if Brahman were other than you, you don't have to reach it, because Brahman means the all-pervasive, Brahman means the unlimited, like space. Now just as space doesn't have to be reached, Brahman doesn't have to be reached. Abhyupagamavada. Even if Brahman were not you, you don't have to reach. If it were you, Bati nahi uthta hai. Even if God were not, even if God were other than you, you don't have to reach him, because God should be present everywhere, being all pervasive. Then he should be all pervasive in like space, then where can you don't have to reach him. This is an answer to all the theologians. You don't have to go to heaven to reach him. You don't have to. See, it is just a simple Abhyupagamavada, a passing argument. Is good enough. A passing argument is good enough to refute all the theologies. We don't have to use our Siddhantam for them. Mara Siddhantam. You don't have to use a nuclear weapon to kill a dengue mosquito. Simple. उसका नाम क्या है? कछुआ छाप लीजिए. That kachua chap, coil. Kachua coil is good enough. We don't have to look for a nuclear weapon. Therefore, similarly here, you don't have to use our argument. Bhagavan's passing argument. What is it? Even if God were not you, even then you can't. You don't have to reach him. Finish. Therefore, here he says, Sa Swarupa Vyatiriktatvepi. Now look at the meaning of the line. Swarupa Vyatiriktatvepi. Even if Brahmanaha must be taken. Swarupa Vyatiriktatvepi Brahmanaha. Even if Brahman were other than you. Brahmanaha. Na apyatvam. Brahman doesn't have to be reached. You don't have to do anything to reach. Even if Brahman were other than you, you can't. You don't have to reach. Not you can't, but you don't have to reach it. Why? Sarvagatattvena, as all pervasive, Nitya Apta Swarupatvat. Nitya Apta Swarupatvat means because it is ever in proximity. It is ever like space is ever in proximity. Nitya Apta Swarupatvat. Sarvena, by everybody. Brahmanaha. Brahma ka Nityaptatva. Brahmana Nityaptatva Sarvena. Brahman is ever rich. Brahman is ever in contact with everybody. Therefore, nobody has to reach Brahman, nobody need to reach God. Even if God were other than you. Because God being all pervasive, He should be ever in touch with you. Why do you have to reach? If there is a distance between Him and you, then He is not all pervasive. But this is only Abhibhagamavada. But actually Bhagavan is not other than the Swarupa. Bhagavan is in fact the observing subject, this very conscious being. If it is Swarupa, then the question of having to reach God doesn't arise. Therefore Bhagavan doesn't enjoy, Brahman doesn't enjoy the status of having to be reached. No apyatvam. He is not utpadya, he is not vikarya, he is not apya. Napi sanskaryah mokshah yena vyaparam apeksheta. Nor is moksha something that is the result of some purification. Moksha is not in the form of some purification of something. I purify the body, I get moksha, or I purify my mind, I get moksha. Or I purify myself and I get moksha. Therefore, moksha is not the result of action, not the result of modification, not the result of movement, not the result of purification. It's not a result. Because any result results from action, modification, purification, or reaching. Action, movement. नाभि संस्कार्यः मोक्षः येन व्यापारम अपेक्षेता. येन जिससे व्यापारम action अपेक्षेता would necessitate. Moksha is not the result of sanskara for you to be in need of doing some purificatory action. Sanskaro hi namam sanskaryasya guna adhanena vasyat dosha apanayanena vam. Hey, what is purification, sanskara? What is sanskara here means purification. What is this purification? Ashikara says, supposing you want to purify something, then how do you purify it? You add some guna to it, or you remove the dosha from it. This is called purification. Supposing you want to really cleanse a piece of cloth, what do? Add some detergent to it, and also remove the dirt. This is called purification. This is called guna adhanam and dosha apanayanam. So sanskaro hi nama, the purification indeed is sanskaryasya, what is to be purified, that guna adhanena, by adding some cleansing agent, vasyat, you add a cleansing agent to it, then it is purified. Or instead of adding a cleansing agent to it, or you remove the dosha apanayanena va. You remove the impurity. Add purity to it and make it pure. Or remove impurity and make it pure. Or add purity and also remove impurity. Makes no difference. But the whole process is in the form of adding purity and removing impurity. And what is added would be deleted. And what is deleted will go back and add. Problem to ye, na? This is called vairagya. This is called vairagya. See, if I remove something, it will come back. If I add something, it will go away. Additions will be gone. Subtractions will come back and join. That's why, the lost money will get back. And the money that you got will be lost. The whole life is what? Guna adhana and the dosha apanaya. So, the money that I lost last year, I got it back. Or the money that I got last year, I lose it this. Not this year, ek din to jana hi hai. All that is gained has to go. Not might go, will go. That is a law. Even this body that I get has to go. Therefore, sir, sanskaro hi naam sanskaryasya gunadhanena va syat doshapanena va. Na tavat guna adhanena sambhavati anatheya atishaya brahmaswarupatvat mokshasya. We can't add purity to the self. Na tavat guna adhanena sambhavati. It is not possible to purify awareness, it's not possible to purify the self by adding something called extra purity. Guna adhana is not possible. Why? Because you can't add anything to the unlimited. That is why it says, Anatheya atishaya brahma swarupatvat mokshas. Anatheya means which cannot, that to which nothing can be added. Atheya means something can be added. That which can take something. That is called atheya. Anatheya means it can't take anything. Anatheya. Atishaya means it is something, it is so unsurpassable, it is so huge, Atishaya, it is so inexcellable, it is so unsurpassable, and it can't become bigger than what it is, and therefore nothing can be added to it. You can add something to the limited. If it is unlimited, you can't add anything to it. That it is something too big to take anything extra to it. Anatheya atishaya brahmaswarupatvat mokshasya. Moksha is in the form of Brahma, which Brahma is unlimited, and therefore being unlimited you can't add anything to it. Therefore, how do you add purity to the unlimited? So I can't purify Brahma by way of adding some purity to it. Why? Anatheya atishaya brahma swarupatvat mokshas. Moksha is in the form of Brahman, which is unlimited. Therefore you can't be added to. Nothing can be added to it. So what kind of purity am I going to add to Brahman, the unlimited? Therefore, by adding purity to myself, I can't gain moksha. Moksha is not something that I should bring about by adding purity to myself, because it is too unlimited to take any extra purity. Okay. It is all right. You don't have to add purity, they will say, in all satsangs. You don't have to add purity, because you are already pure. All that you have to do is remove impurity. Bhashikara says, shut up. You don't have to remove impurity. Haji says, no, there is no impurity to remove. There is something to know, because we all want all these theories to skip understanding, because I don't want to understand. This is the problem. कुछ समझना नहीं चाहता, because that is too big a thing. समझना मतलब I have to study the truth. Studying means I have to study my experience. I have to study my existence. Studying myself, studying the three states in relation to myself, that is called adhyayanam. Studying, that I don't want to do. Therefore, I want to keep on doing some sadhana, because that keeps me very happy, comfortable. Roz utho kuch sadhana, routine lagao. So get into some kind of a routine. This rato came from routine. Understand? Adi, rato and roti, they are the same. Inka dhatu ek hi hai. Therefore, napi dosha, now please see, napi dosha apanayanena nitya shuddha brahmaswarupatvat mokshasya. You cannot get moksha by removing the impurity. Napi dosha apanayanena. You don't have to remove any impurity from your heart, from your being. Why? Nitya Shuddha Brahma Swarupatvat Mokshasya. Because moksha is in the form of Brahma, which is by nature pure. You are by nature pure. There is no impurity to remove. You are unlimited and you are already pure, and therefore you don't have to add any purity. You don't have to remove any impurity. But because you are already pure, you can't add any purity. Absolute purity. To be absolute itself is purity. To be unlimited is purity. And then what is impurity? Impurity is not there in it for you to remove it. Therefore, what is this sadhana that you are doing? I am trying to remove impurity. Purity we are already. And they will give the example. What is the example? Like a mirror, there is already prakasha, but there is a dust coating, and you have to remove it. Then already Atma, apni, it shines in its pristine purity, glory. Atma shines forth. Previously, it was not shining forth. It was only quiet. Bhagavan says, wo bhi galat hai. Because you don't have to remove any dust coating on the self. Because whatever you say, it is something, an effort that you are doing instead of trying to understand first. Trying to add purity is a sadhana, trying to remove purity is a sadhana, and trying to remove dust coating also is a sadhana. And that also he makes it. Please see. Swatma dharmaha eva sanna tirobhutaha mokshaha kriyayam atmani samskriyamane adhivyajyate yatha adarshe nikharshana kriyaya samskriyamane bhaswaratvam dharmaha iti chet. Hey, Purupakshi, if you were to say, Swatma Dharma, moksha is the nature of Atma. Swatma Dharma, freedom is our birthright. Freedom is our nature. Swatma Dharma. Eva San, even though moksha remaining our dharma, then that San in masculine gender, because moksha, Swatma Dharma eva San rahate ve tirobhutaha mokshaha. Tirobhuta means has become unmanifest. Moksha has become unmanifest. Even though freedom is our nature, but it has become unmanifest. All we have to do is do sadhana so that it becomes manifest. Is another phrase for the same thing. Tirobhutaha sarna, tirobhutaha mokshaha. And therefore what should we do? Kriyaya. When we perform the religious and spiritual actions, kriyaya means some sadhana, action. Atmani samskriyamane, when the self is purified, when one purifies one's self, Atmani sanskriyamane, shanach pratyaya kriyamane. When the self is purified, Sati Saptami, when it is purified, adhivyajyate. Atmani sanskriyamane, both are in seventh case. Therefore, Atmani sanskriyamane, when the self is purified, sa moksha, that moksha which is our nature but which has become unmanifest will become abhivyajyate, is made manifest. Abhivyajyate is made manifest. And example, yatha, just as Adarshe in the mirror, nikharshana kriyaya, by the act of rubbing, sanskriyamane adarshe, when the mirror is purified. There again Sati Saptami. Adarshe Saptami, nikharshana kriyaya, by the act of rubbing, sanskriyamane, when it is cleansed. When the mirror is cleansed by rubbing, bhaswaratvam, its original shine. Dharmaha, which is its nature, adhivyajyate vasu. Like even, adhivyajyate must be added, it becomes manifest. So just as the shine of the mirror comes back to manifest when I remove the dust, in the same manner, I remove the dust from my being, or I remove the impurity from my being, and then the moksha, the free nature becomes manifest. Ye bhi galat hai. If this is what you think, now you are wrong. You are wrong. I think you can put a stop there. We continue later. Therefore, you can't take, you can't bypass, because truth alone is, and whatever is evident is truth alone. The evidence of the universe is nothing but evidence of your being. The evidence of the waking is evidence of you. The evidence of dream is evidence of your being. The evidence of their negation is also the evidence of your being. Therefore, you have to study and recognize that all that is there is only one truth, in which there is no veil, in which there is no impurity, in which there is no such a thing called, manifesting and unmanifesting. Because the manifest state of the form is illumined by the self. The unmanifest state of the form is illumined by the self, and that self doesn't become unmanifest. The one who experiences the unmanifest, the negation of the waking and the dream doesn't become unmanifest, doesn't get negated. And therefore don't go on doing some sadhana thinking that it will one day become manifest. Don't think you have to create it, modify it, reach it or purify it, or you have to remove only the veil on it, you have to remove the dust on it, you have to remove the impurity on it. Baki sab theek hai. Just we have to go on doing sadhana so that, or at least, if nothing works, then ultimately they will say, yeah, all that you say is true, but I have to experience it. Say to constantly you, what is there for you? In fact, you can only understand what is within your experience. What is not within your experience, you can neither know nor experience, understand. What is not within your experience can neither be experienced nor known. Anubhava is there, Anubhava has to be studied and understood. We have to understand the felt experience. The experiences have to be understood. Like the Jagat is an experience, a scientist goes about understanding our experience of the universe. Understanding the universe, which is a matter of experience. Vedanta also unfolds the truth, which is a matter of experience. And then you say, oh, I'm America returned, I did my Oxford this, and then Cambridge, I did my this in Cambridge, that in Oxford, and that in Boston, वगैरह वगैरह. You're taking big names, and then you say, Swamiji, so when to experience the truth. What did you do in Oxford? What were you doing in Oxford and Cambridge? Simple thing that we understand what is within Anubhava. If this much you have not picked up in Oxford and Cambridge, what is the use? What is the use? What is the use? Haji. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaja Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. से अच्छा हमारा ऋषिकेश में जाते तो अच्छा पढ़ाई हो जाता. ऑक्सफोर्ड कैम्ब्रिज से अच्छा है. ऋषिकेश में बहुत हिमालय में सिंपल साधु लोग पड़े रहते हैं, उनके पास जाओ ज्यादा अक्ल आ जाती. हाँ जी. Throughout life the same music goes on, Ram, 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 Ram. कहीं भी जाओ same problem. How to experience? मैंने पूरा पढ़ चुका हूँ. योग वासिष्ठ पूरा पढ़ चुका हूँ. अरे योग वासिष्ठ पढ़ने के लिए कौन था आपको? योग वासिष्ठ क्या है? Hey, Rama, 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 Rama. Very interesting world. That is why it is better to study Chatusutri. इसमें things are made very clear. You see, every sadhu has to study the Chatusutri. I told you in the beginning. For this reason. For this reason, how Shabda is Pramanam and how all your so-called sadhanas have no meaning at all. You have to do proper vichara, shravana, figure out what the truth is. Hari Om Shiva. And instead of that, if Chatusutri is not studied, one doesn't even know what is happening. What is happening, one doesn't know. What is the place of upasana, karma? What is the place of this sadhana? Sadhana is good for purifying, to keep a relative peace of your mind, not purifying the self. That also will come.
Some today it is still not.
No, but I won't have so much. I'll have this much, you know. Half lonely. You feel like having it, have it, keep it there. Then we will say, not really by purifying, they will say, no, I have to do sadhana not for purifying the self but for purifying my mind, and once the mind is purified, then automatically, ultimately the result is the same. Automatically moksha will become manifest. Wo bhi gadabad. But we say you do your sadhana to keep your mind peaceful so that you can use it for adhyayana. Bas itna hai. It is as simple as that. Not that you do sadhana day in and day out to purify your mind so that moksha will become manifest. No. You do your sadhana so that you keep your mind peaceful so that you can use it for. You can make a beginning. In order to make a good beginning, Shubha Arambham, to make a good beginning, you require a relatively peaceful mind for which you can do japa tapa. That is all right. That is all right. But to say that I am doing sadhana so that I purify my mind, then moksha will become manifest. What manifest? Why should it oblige you? by becoming manifest to you. Why should it oblige you? He says, forget it. Why would Moksha think, let me manifest to him because he has been working hard? He would Brahman oblige. ये सारी ठोस है जी चतुसूत्री, बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है, prepares the ground for the next entire भाष्य के सूत्र भाष्य की मीमांसा के लिए चतुसूत्री prepares the ground. So that in the light of this, look at the Vakyas. You see, because later on it is going to be Vakya Mimamsa. Now, when you take up the study of the Vedanta Vakyas, how do you study the Vedanta Vakyas? Without this background, what is the problem? Which is Upasana Paravakyam, which is Vastu Paravakyam. All these things become, you will be able to enjoy the Vakya Mimamsa with this background. Chatusutri background means really this is the problem, this is the topic of the Shastra. Otherwise, how can you do Vakya Mimamsa? It is by Bhashyakara first writes the Chatusutri. Why in the Brahma Sutras we have Samanvayadhyaya, Samanvaya, the Samanvaya Adhikaranam, the fourth sutra. It is the fourth Adhikaranam, and there is only one sutra in it, the fourth sutra. Very important. In this one sutra, a lot of things are said. What is moksha, what is bandha, what is upasana, what is jnanam, what is manana nididhyasana, that also is going to come. Manana nididhyasana is not some upasana that follows shravanam. Manana nididhyasana yorapi jnanarthatvat, Bhagavan is going to say. So Shravanam is for Jnanam, Mananam Nididhyasana always for Jnanam. Not that through Shravanam you get Jnanam and after Jnanam, and for experiencing you do Mananam and Nididhyasana. If that is true, one is for Jnana Sadhanam, the other is for Anubhava Sadhanam. Why should he put it in one Vakya? Yajnavalkya. Atma Vare Drashtavya. Okay, for which sadhanam is? Drashtavya is one purpose. And sadhanam Shrotavya, Mantavya, Nididhyasana. That means Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam are for Atma Drishti. Atma ko janana chahiye. Kaise janna chahiye? Shrotavya, Mantavya, Nididhyasana. That means what? Shravanam is for janne ke liye. Mananam is for janne ke liye. Nididhyasana is for janne ke liye. If Yajnavalkya had thought that Shravanam is for Jnanam and Mananam and Nididhyasana are for Anubhava, then he could have said, Atmavare Drashtavya. For which what should you do? Shrotavya. Full stop. Then Atmavare Anubhavitavya. Anubhavitavya. For which what should you do? Anubhavitavya. For which what do you do? Mantavya. Nidhyasana. ये तो अलग करना चाहिए. But he doesn't say, Atma Vare Drashtavya. Atma should be understood. For which what should you do? Shrotavya, Mantavya. Now, any schoolboy can understand the connection. Ek to Drashtavya hai, baki sadhana hai, this is the sadhya hai, this is sadhana hai. This is what you need and this is the path. This is the Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasana. Now you come and interpret, Shravanam is for Jnana, but Mananam and Nididhyasana are for Anubhava. ऐसा कैसे interpret करेंगे? You go and ask Yajnavalkya what he meant. He says, ये तो मैं तो कभी सोचा भी नहीं इस तरह कभी आप लोग सोचेंगे. He says, he will have really. Yes, I never thought really that ऐसा भी होगा भविष्य में. ऐसा भी interpretations आएंगे. Atma means Atma, which Atma? Anubhava Siddha Atma. Like to which Atma, first of all? If it is not in Anubhava, how can you bring in the word Atma? That which is not in your experience, what is the word you can use for it? Atmava means what? You are drawing the attention of the person to what is evident. Atmava are drashtavya, shrotavya, mantavya, nididhyastavya. What is within anubhava has to be understood. For which? Shrotavya, mantavya, nididhyastavya. Is it not here? Then how do you divide it? No, Maranam is for. This nididhyasam is for. So, Yajnavalkya would start wondering, my God, I never thought that these people are such great, imaginative, and they have come up with such interpretations. Because when they thought of Purvapakshis also, they really created some intelligent Purvapakshis, because they could not even think of, Purvapakshis which are so small and funny, they could not think of. They always thought of Purvapakshas which are profound. Now here is a Purvapaksha which says Maranam is for something else, Nididhyasam is for something else. Maranam is for Anubhava, Nididhyasam is for becoming one with it. That becoming one with it, that also can be a Paksha. Why not? Why not? Are you?